So you've been dumped. Guess what? It's happened to almost all of us. It certainly happened to me. I got dumped by my now ex-wife in April of 2021, and our divorce has been done for over a year at this point. But if you have been dumped, is there one thing that you can do to instantly make her regret dumping you? That's what we're getting into today in this video. What will make her regret dumping you, and what can you do possibly to get her back, or at least prepare yourself for the next great love of your life and to get back out there faster and better. Hi, I'm Jeff Campbell from DivorcedParentsClub.com, and I'm glad you're here with me. So the first thing you have to do before you do anything else is figure out if this is a pattern in your life. Why do you keep getting dumped? And really it comes down to one of two things, or maybe both. But the first one is your selection process, how you're choosing the women that you're going into relationships with. There could be something inherently flawed in that process. If you have unhealed wounds from your childhood, like abandonment wounds, for example, then you may be settling for the first woman who comes along who expresses interest in you. You're like, oh my God, they love me. I love feeling loved because I didn't get enough as a child. And maybe you're not even having that conscious conversation in your head, but that's the reality of the situation. So you're settling for women who aren't right for you. Maybe they're pretty, maybe they are attentive, maybe they are caring for you, and it just feels good. But in the grand scheme of the big picture, they're not really compatible for you. And eventually over time, that begins to show up more and more and more, and then you break up. The second possibility is that you just are displaying unattractive behaviors, especially as the relationship progresses. Maybe at first you came across as confident and masculine, and then as you got into a relationship, you began to get needy and insecure, maybe clingy and jealous, and you began displaying unattractive qualities, and over time her attraction level for you dropped and dropped and dropped until there was nothing left, and then bam, right out of the blue, you get dumped. That's probably what happened in my case with my now ex-wife. I can see it very clearly now. I could not see it at the time. Also, she has an avoidant attachment style, and I tend to have an anxious attachment style, and those two things often are drawn together, but they often do end in relationship failure. So I want you to really think clearly about why your relationships keep failing, because it's going to be one of those two things that I just mentioned, or maybe a combination of the two. The next question is, should you get back out there and date after you've been dumped? And I do think there's value in waiting a little bit of time, but that depends on how long the relationship that just ended had lasted. In my case, I was married for almost 15 years and with her even longer than that. So I did wait about a year before I began to date again after getting dumped. But if your relationship was a lot shorter than that, you may want to get back out there faster. What I don't want you to do, though, is just to jump back into a full-fledged relationship too quickly. But there's nothing wrong with casually dating. In fact, that's going to hone your skills and boost your confidence, all of which is going to help you in the long run. So I do think there's nothing wrong with casually dating. Just don't get too serious too quickly, especially if you do have unhealed childhood abandonment wounds, essentially, because you're going to naturally want to jump back into the first relationship that seems like it's possibly going to happen. You're going to want to start a relationship too quickly with the first person who comes along who seems like they might possibly be compatible, and that could be a huge mistake. So take your time, date casually, date several women, and it's okay to have sex with multiple women as long as you haven't made any sort of commitment to any of them. That's okay. Just take things slowly, take things casually, and then eventually find yourself back with one woman in a full-fledged relationship. But don't rush to the altar. Real quick before we keep going, if you like this video and you want to see more videos like it, hit that like button for me. It sends a great signal to YouTube's algorithm. They're going to show my videos to more and more people just like you who need help. So it's a great way not only to say thank you to me, but to grow my channel and to allow me to help more people. So let's assume for the moment that you do want this ex back. So how do you go about improving the perceived value of you? Social proof is going to be one great way to do that. And that's going to involve basically you getting out there. You're not sitting at home wallowing in misery or self-pity. You're getting back out there, not necessarily dating, but you could casually date like I mentioned a minute ago, but get back out there with your friends. Go out to clubs, go out to restaurants, go out to bars, have fun. Just relax and enjoy yourself. You don't have to get into anything serious. This is just about you letting loose and having fun and doing things that bring you joy. Bouncing back quickly is going to be a key thing, though, that is going to potentially attract her her back. Now, all of us like the idea of our ex wallowing in misery, sitting at home miserable without us. We all kind of like that, but the reality of it is, especially for women who are thinking about a guy, that's not an attractive way for her to think about you. You don't really want her to think like that because she's going to feel sorry for you and take pity on you, and that is not going to increase her attraction level, and ultimately her attraction level dropping is why you got dumped. So we don't want her thinking about us like that. We want her going, oh my gosh, he's already back out there, he's already dating women and he's having fun and like none of this even happened, and that's going to get her wondering about you, and wondering about you is a great thing because wonderment increases her attraction level, increases her curiosity, and then she's going to be like, well, is he already seeing somebody? Is he already sleeping with somebody? Does he already have a new girlfriend? She's going to start to wonder those kinds of things as she hears things through the grapevine or maybe sees things on social media, and that wonderment is going to work wonders for you. And then lastly, I want you to focus on being the best version of you that you can be. I talk about that a lot in my videos, but it's worth mentioning again. So get back out there to doing the things that brought you joy at the start of the relationship that just ended. A lot of us let things go by the wayside when we get into a long-term committed relationship. We stop going to the gym, we stop hanging out with our friends, we stop doing our hobbies, maybe we gain a little weight, and we think we're doing that so that we can spend more time with our significant other, but the reality of it is all the things we now have stopped doing are the things that attracted her to us in the first place. So get back to doing those things, or find new things if you didn't really have a lot of that going on in the first place. There are always activities out there that you will enjoy doing that will bring you joy, that will bring you a sense of fulfillment, or maybe a sense of calm. And it could be anything. It could be yoga, it could be martial arts, it could be going to the gun range with your buddies, it could be getting back to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. It could be any one of a number of things or a combination of things, but find the things that bring you joy, that help make you you. And then lastly, how do we let her know that you're doing all these cool things? Well, here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to do these things out of desperation, like, oh, well, if she could only see all the cool things I'm doing for myself, then she'd want me back. That's needy and desperate and not attractive. And if you're going to win her back, you can't be displaying unattractive behaviors. Even if she's not seeing those unattractive behaviors face to face, you're still doing these things from an unattractive place. And that is ultimately going to come through and show up. So don't be doing these things out of desperation. Do them because they bring you joy and they make you a better person. And if they don't attract her back, that's her loss. There's plenty of other fish in the sea and they will find you. I also don't want you to do this out of manipulation. You're not trying to manipulate her to come back to you. That's not the goal. That should not be your goal. You want her to come back to you because she realized that she's made a terrible mistake and that you're the catch of the century and that she was incredibly stupid to have let you go, and she's now realized her mistake and she wants a second chance with you. That's the attitude and the mindset that you need to have. So don't be doing anything out of desperation, and don't be doing anything to manipulate her. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, like I said, there's plenty of other fish in the sea. Now, a lot of the time, you can get an ex to come back to you if you have broken up, and especially if you've been dumped, especially by doing a lot of the things that we just talked about. But there are 11 signs that she's never coming back. And if you want to know what those are so you can kind of determine what the likelihood is that she'll come back, I want you to watch this video right up here where I walk you through all of those 11 signs step by step so you can clearly know what your odds are of getting back together again with her. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.